So here's the latest version of SiteGlide Studio, version 1.15, released on April Fool's Day, but no surprises here, no tricks. Lots of nice features, some fixes and some improvements. So the main big one to mention is global sections. So if you've been using Studio, you might have found that sometimes you've got a section and you want the exact same content in multiple places without having to maintain a different version of that section. We have sections that are obviously reusable. There's all these sections can be used anywhere. But what we haven't had until now is the same content shared across them. So what we can do is you can click on any section. We've tweaked the UI as well, the UX, so that you can read the sections better, especially on smaller resolution. Still doing more there, but if you click it, you'll see some more buttons appear. There's just some that aren't really required on the list view. So if you click into one, there's now this global icon. If you click that, that will make this section global. A couple of options, and it's worth just quickly understanding these. Essentially, either green means you're overriding any versions where that section is in place. You're making that whole section global. It could overwrite what you've got elsewhere. If you're not sure, so when I say overwrite, it will override, but if you undid it, all the data would go back to the previous data because we don't delete that. It's still actually saved there in the section. So override all will just literally override any existing ones, whereas clone section will give you a completely new section. It'll create the copy the section, and then lock that down as global effectively. So if you insert that into more places, it will just be one version. So let's just try this one quickly. So what that's done is now made that go green. This is a global section, so if you inserted this anywhere else, the content would be the same. So that's global sections. You can then turn it off again and set it back as a local section, or you can do the clone option that I mentioned as well. So give that a test, let us know any thoughts. We tried to make it as flexible as possible, and it's not like a section can only be global or not. You can decide as and when to change it. Next up, we have a limit for items. So when you map something, if we go to statistics here and we map that to, let's say, FAQs, it will be set to, as a default, 20 items. If you only wanted one to appear, that will limit it to one. And obviously if you want more than 20 items, you can set that as well. We don't really recommend going over 20 or, as few as possible from a performance perspective. There's other ways to do bigger amounts of data using dynamic sections. So if you haven't used them yet, we have dynamic sections here. They're definitely better suited to big amounts of data and doing more with data. These are standard sort of SiteGlide dynamic content like web app includes and that kind of stuff. But yeah, you've got full control over this now, so you can control how many you want to show. What else do we have? Just going to check my changelog notes, which I'm about to release with the video. So yeah, secure zone support added to Studio pages. So if you've set a secure zone here, then Studio will work correctly with that. It's just a fix for secure zones. Section copy. So one little tweak to the UX is we've now got it so that the copy button here is now called duplicate, because there was some confusion for us as well over what copy means, section copy means. So what duplicate means is if you've got a section already, it will insert it into the page. It will duplicate that section, the use of that section in this page. So you're not copying the section itself, you're inserting another instance of it here. So you've got two running, two versions of that section running. Now, separately to that, if you go into a section, edit the section, if we go into one that isn't in use elsewhere, let's quickly do that. There's now this button called make a copy. So if this section isn't used anywhere else, but you could still decide to make a copy of it and and basically customize a new section off the back of this one. There's already that functionality in any that are in use in multiple places. So this one here is already in 3 places. Whenever you click update, it will ask you whether you want to create a copy instead, rather than, are you sure? Do you want to overwrite? So we've already had this feature. We've just now made it available to sections that aren't already in use in multiple places. Those are the main features. One kind of important one is field ID lock. So if you want to control so when you create fields, for example, so this heading 1, they automatically get given an ID, typically the name of the label, especially if you just type that in, it'll fill that in there. And if AI has been building your sections for you, it'll probably do the same. So typically you shouldn't need to change it. And when you click copy, it's going to give you the name of that section in there. So if you start using it and then you go and use it and then you go and change it, you're obviously going to break some of the links and some of the logic that you set up. So we've set it so that everything is locked by default once you create a new field. So if you just go add field, it's unlocked. You can do whatever you need to do. Once you've saved this section, then it would lock. So going back to one that's locked, you could then choose to unlock it, but obviously bear in mind that you'd have to go and update any references to it. So kind of just made that a little bit more obvious and harder to do by mistake. Then we've got dynamic sections, fields, and settings. So if we just come back out to here, we don't have any dynamic sections, so let's add one. So if we go to dynamic, let's do default blog card. We click on this, you can have settings and various information. So that helps you, in this example, customize the title, even though it's in a dynamic section. So use, and that would update here. And then settings, you can give your customer or whoever's going to be editing the site the ability to control certain things that would normally be hidden away. And then we've also squashed some bugs. So the support for secure zones. I'll remove that from here because we've explained that. SID can now update rich text fields. So if you're working in an area like this, you can ask SID to work on these sections as well. So you just click the Use AI Assistant button here. It knows you're working on this section. You can always turn that off. But if you do want to edit this section, and you can say, rewrite paragraph, want to be shorter. I don't know, whatever you want it to say. And it can now work on those sections. So it's just updated that. What else have we done? Category filter now works correctly and shows some items. There were just a couple of issues with how categories work. So that's when you're mapping fields, you can use categories and control how that works. Then integer field, same, there was an issue with that. That's fixed. A warning when navigating away from section editor to avoid losing unsaved changes. Yeah. So if you are working in this section, you make any changes, it's going to ask you, are you sure? And then finally, fix the intermittent error when navigating section library. Sometimes there was an issue when in this area now, and that shouldn't be fixed. So yeah, those are the main features of version 1.15. I definitely recommend giving global fields a spin. That's really, really useful for building out sites, especially bigger sites when you want the same content used in multiple places. You could use it for a menu in templates. You could use it for call to actions, whatever you might want it to be. Let us know any feedback. We've got plenty in the works still, but wanted to get this one out ASAP. Thanks.